former Fulton County District Attorney and Sheriff.
Formerly a judge, and he knows a little bit about how these things go.
From Mohawk Valley, legal eagle, lawman.
He is the Sheriff of Fulton County, New York. Just such an amazing guy.
This is the Rich Giardino Show, where the Constitution, crime, and politics meet.
Hey, welcome to Rich Giardino Show, where the Constitution, crime, and politics meet. Tonight, we have a very interesting guest. He's just thrust into the limelight in the last 2 weeks in Amsterdam, New York. His name is Anthony Constantino, and he's the CEO and president of Sticker Mule. Sticker Mule is a business that has salesmen and account people in 39 countries, employs over 1,200 people in various states, is out of Amsterdam. He's built the company up with a 75-year-old partner that he started with years ago. And Anthony stepped up with Donald Trump by sending an email to his staff and to his client list, caught a lot of blowback, and then started to pack out of that. So it's going to be an interesting night. Anthony, I want to welcome you to the show tonight. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I want to start first just so people know the economic impact of Sticker Mule in Amsterdam, Montgomery County, and around the region, because a lot of people have heard the name, but they don't know what you've done and what you do for the community. I think that's a good place to start.
People always say, you do a lot for the community. It's like, you don't, first of all, I don't got a choice. I live here. So, if you live in your community, you got no choice but to want to make it better. That's where you live. So that's what, that's what we got to be. But, we got started 14 years ago. We've been growing like crazy. And right now we got 1,200 people in 39 countries, but the vast majority are in Amsterdam, New York, nearly 1,000 people in Amsterdam, New York. And I got lucky enough to end up buying almost every functional manufacturing building in Amsterdam, which means we saved the taxpayers a lot of money. A lot of those buildings were in rough shape, and our team, we got an incredible maintenance team, building repair team, whatever you want to call it. But we got an incredible team that's gone around and renovated a ton of those buildings. You should have seen what they did to the Mohawk Dairy building. There was a building, for those of you that don't know it, called the Mohawk Dairy. It was a dairy farm that had a grocery store. That building was totally destroyed, totally decimated. We bought that, completely renovated it, and turned it into a cutting-edge gym. We bought the Founds building, both of the Founds buildings, and saved those from decimation or whatever was going to happen with them. And we've done it with a lot of other buildings too, which is, it's fun. The tragic thing is we buy these things and they're in terrible states, and we move so quickly, people forget to take pictures. So you walk into buildings now, they look beautiful, but we don't have any evidence of what they looked like when we first got them.
And two quick other things. People have to know, like you built a park for the city, number one, and number two, in your gym, if you're a high school kid, as long as you got good grades and stay out of trouble, you can use your gym for free, and you have guys who are UFC and extreme fighters and like yourself, correct?
Yeah, we got, we take care of first responders and Sticker Mill employees for free as well. And yeah, it's a beautiful gym. I also operate the gym at a major loss. It's very hard to make money at gyms, but the return on the gym is, me and my team being healthy, you get a good return on that. So.
Yeah, well, if you had a diner, you'd see me at the diner before the gym. That's my problem. At this stage, it's easier to go out to eat than go out to work out. But so a couple months ago, after the first assassination attempt on President Trump, you sent an email, and that kind of started the ball rolling. Can you tell us a little bit about what your mindset was and what your intent was and what happened as a result of the email, who you sent it to, and what the blowback was?
Sure. I move very quickly. If you know the story, how we got started, we started the company very quickly. In one conversation, we started the company. We launched 3 months later. So we started the company. We got incorporated. We didn't even know what the name was going to be. We didn't even know what product we were going to sell. We moved very quickly. And so when bullets went flying past Donald Trump's head, one of them hit his ear, and then people were making jokes about it, saying it's not a big deal. But, if a bullet hits your ear, it's very close to your brain, and that's a big problem. So when that happened, it took me about 5 minutes to write a message that was a heartfelt, I think, unifying message. It simply said, basically, people at Sticker Mule like Biden, people at Sticker Mule like Trump, we all get along. The hate and division in this country needs to come to an end. The hatred directed at Trump supporters needs to come to an end. It's gone too far with bullets flying. But I've been watching the situation for the last 8 years, and I've seen, I've been aware of the situation with Trump supporters getting treated very, very unfairly. And I call Trump the biggest victim of bullying in the world today, but his supporters have been heavily bullied. Everyone knows, for the last 8 years. And I think it's just gone too far, and it's a situation that needs to get fixed. Luckily, I'm not the only one that wants to fix it. A lot of other people want to fix it too. RFK, I don't think would be involved if he wasn't so frustrated with the current situation. Tulsi Gabbard is now supporting Trump. She was a very respected Democrat that thinks there's a problem that needs to get addressed. And other people like Elon Musk are getting involved, making personal sacrifice. And if you look at it, all the people that are speaking up to support Trump are all people making personal sacrifice because they see what I see. There's a big problem, and it's got to go away. We can't have a situation where half the country, people hate, I say really hundreds of millions of people like Donald Trump. And people try to fact check me on that and say it's not true. But I got a company in 39 countries. I can tell you Trump had 70 or 80 million votes just in the United States. Got hundreds of millions of supporters in other countries.
See, I consider you, quote unquote, a profile in courage, and I don't think it's blowing smoke up your butt or anything. I think it's true. Most businesses would stay far away from politics. I experience it every time I run for office. Well, I'll put a sticker on my car, but I won't put a sign in the window because I don't want to upset people. I think what you did was, once you stepped up, tell our listeners about what happened to some of the harassment your employees felt, and some of the employees inside saying, hey, we shouldn't be doing this. We're going to get in trouble. Tell the listeners about that, because that makes a difference.
Sure. As soon as I sent off the email and sent off the message, it went crazy on social media before we even sent the email. But as soon as we sent out the message, we got inundated with backlash, hate. And really, the really disturbing thing was probably thousands of people wrote in saying, kill yourself. And, when people on the other end are reading that, and they're customer service people, they don't know who that's directed at. I'm guessing it was directed at me, but they just, people say things like kill yourself, or I hope you die, or consider killing yourself, or they say it in various different ways. A smaller number of people said, I want to kill you, or I'm going to kill you, or things like that. And so, it made it obvious to me that we correctly identified a big problem. It was a tragic thing. I took quick action, issuing $2,500 bonuses to everyone in support that was dealing with that nonsense. But, really that just verified to me that I identified there really is a big problem, because if you look at the message, people are calling me. In fact, friends of mine that were Democrats, my doctor is a, very respected doctor. He's a Democrat, I believe, but, he certainly told me he doesn't like Trump, but, which is tragic. But, he told me that, and he said, look, I got calls from all sorts of people saying, hey, your friend wrote a horrible email, this ridiculous email. He goes, I read the email, and he goes, it was a nice email, and I had another friend call me that doesn't like Trump. And he said, I heard all these people saying you wrote this horrific email. And then I read it, and he said, no, it was a nice email, because it just said, people here like Trump, people here like Biden, we all get along. Why can't that be the situation nationally? And it can be the situation nationally, but I've been asking recently for the Democrat Party to speak up. The Democrat Party needs to step up. It's tragic what they've been doing. And I hate to, pick on them, but they have to speak up and stop and tell their supporters to stop hating Trump, and to stop specifically hating his supporters. If you dip your ring in the political arena, you're gonna get some amount of attention, positive and negative. But they've been directing their supporters to hate their fellow Americans. They've been telling people to end family relationships. People end family relationships. I got a family member of mine who I'm friends with on Facebook, and it's really weird. He was, he loved me, everything I did. He said nice things about, and now all he does, he writes mean messages on all my Facebook posts, and this isn't his fault. This is the fault of the Democrat Party that told him to view the world in this manner. And so I don't hold him responsible, but the Democrat Party needs to take responsibility for what they did, and they need to try to help fix it too. Luckily, there are members of the Democrat Party like Mark Zuckerberg, who donated $400 million to Democrats to help Democrats. And the last election, he donated a mass amount of money. I think his wife probably told him to do it, and now he regrets it. But he started going to the gym. He changed his mind, but he apologized. But other Democrats need to step forward and apologize. Chris Cuomo apologized. It was funny. I wrote a thing saying people need to come forward and apologize. And one of my friends said, you're not going to believe this, Chris Cuomo apologized the next day. So I don't know if he read what I wrote, but more Democrats need to do what Mark Zuckerberg did and what Chris Cuomo did, and apologize for stirring up all this anti-Trump hate that's causing bullets to fly and causing families to get ripped apart and friendships to get ripped apart.
Well, it's like you say, they target Trump and say Trump is so mean and Trump belittles and Trump attacks. But then when you listen, I have very highly educated friends, a lot of lawyers, a lot of people I deal with in business, and they say, well, you're a Republican. Why do you support Trump? And I said, I support Trump's policies. If it's the Democratic policies of the way we're going, or if it's Trump's policies, I support them. And they can't separate their hate for Donald Trump from the policies and how the country was running. And that's what bothers me the most. So I think you're stepping up. I want to move to the, so as a result of all that, you started a PAC.
Sure. Once I get involved in stuff, I like to use my creativity to solve things, in every way possible. So I'm doing whatever I can to try to fix the problem. Speaking up, I wrote a great email. That email got seen by just about everybody. Then I said, what can I do? What more can I do? And so we spun up a PAC. The real thing was I wanted to just give away fun, happy, uplifting Trump stickers. And of course, you got to talk to lawyers, and lawyers said, you got to run this through a PAC. So we spun up a thing called Sticker PAC, where we give away packs of stickers. I thought it's sort of funny, but we give away packs of stickers to show support, help people show support for Donald Trump, but to do it in a fun, happy, uplifting way where they're saying things like, one sticker says, awesome people love Trump, which, the Trump supporters haven't really been able to hear nice things for the last 8 years. People say Trump supporters are terrible and whatnot. I thought it was important for people to be able to say, look, great people support Donald Trump. Awesome people support Donald Trump. Another sticker that's really popular I like giving out says Trump for peace. I'm wearing the shirt right now. It says Trump for peace. I'll show you really quick. But, I love that one because, look, the supporters of Trump get beat up in horrible ways. And what were they supporting? They're supporting a guy that delivered 4 years of unprecedented global peace. And then things changed. And all of a sudden you started having lots of death all over the place. So why are people getting picked on for supporting peace? It doesn't make any sense.
Tell us too, because one of the big things you like about Trump is the manufacturing aspect, and you've said it publicly and you've expressed it that, we're going to go back to manufacturing, and you're doing that now. And you're converting the old buildings, and you got employees who are doing manufacturing, and I think that's why so many of these unions, they're afraid to endorse him, but they're not afraid to vote for him, and they're not afraid not to endorse Kamala Harris. So it's interesting. And I think you kind of follow that model because you realize you see what's going to happen in the future. This AI and all this crap is going to keep going, but you still need hands on the ground doing the work, right?
Yeah, I live in both worlds. So Sticker Mule is a technology company. We have 100 engineers, but we're a manufacturing company too. So I understand both worlds, and I think for that reason, I have a decent understanding of Trump beyond what most people grasp. Also, as a business person, I have a better understanding too, because a lot of people don't understand what's going on. Is you have situations where you have corrupt or poorly run organizations, and sometimes a new CEO or a new boss needs to enter. And the first thing that happens when you have a poorly run organization is the people rebel when a new guy comes in to fix the place, because they know that new boss is going to discover that they're underperforming, and they're probably going to take what's called corrective action, in a nice way. Another way means firing them, but they're going to enter, and people are going to get fired that are underperforming. And so the U.S. government is a massive organization that is underperforming for the U.S. people. You could say it's corrupt, or you could say it's just simply underperforming, and a new boss entered named Donald Trump, and all those underperforming employees, or in worst cases, corrupt employees, were scared shitless. And so they manufactured all this anti-Trump hate that's poisoned the minds of so many of our fellow Americans and convinced them to really, on their behalf, go out and blow up family relationships, blow up friendships, and all sorts of stuff. But all this hate is really being pushed out on behalf of incompetent and underperforming employees that just don't want a new boss.
Well, what's interesting is Senator Chuck Schumer said it in 2017, 2018, when Trump was running and taking over. He said Trump went after the CIA and the FBI and a couple of these, and Schumer publicly said on television, on a Sunday news program, he said, well, when you go after the alphabets, they come after you, and there's 6 ways to Sunday to get you. So he's telling the public that when you go after the institutions, they'll come back for you. That's why we saw so much of this Russian conspiracy stuff that was bunk. All these things. They don't indict Biden for taking files because he's a nice old man and you won't get a conviction, but they indict Trump. They don't indict Hillary Clinton for doing the same thing and destroying a laptop and destroying stuff, but they indict Trump. So it shows you the double standard. And I think you hit the nail on the head. There's so much going on that our government has been underperforming, is a nice word. We'll say that because let's say that and not say everyone's got evil intent. But I think the Secret Service, they didn't do their job on 2 occasions. I'm glad the Secret Service spotted the rifle, but these guys are entrusted with a former president's life who's a candidate for president, very well be the next president. And they've had all kinds of excuses, and they have incompetent director who says, oh, well, the roof was pitched a quarter of an inch and, oh, somebody might have fallen. Well, somebody might have fallen except for a guy with a rifle who's trying to kill Trump.
These people, whether it's Bush or Clinton or Obama, that have been in politics their whole life, they have no idea how to fix, like I said, what I nicely call an underperforming organization, because they're part of the organization. So that's all that happened. Is people say, why did this never happen before? Because they were passing the baton back and forth between people that were friends with each other. You know, people were celebrating. They'd say, look, the Bushes and the Clintons get along so well together. They get along so well. That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing, right? You don't want to see the people running the organization passing the baton back and forth between friends, because the friends are never going to fix anything.
Yeah, it's your turn. It's your turn. I guess to take a quick commercial break. Stay right there. If you like the content of our show, please like, share with your friends, and subscribe on Apple, X, YouTube, Spotify, Rumble, and every other premium platform for podcasts, including Facebook. I want to now move on to the most important thing that's happened recently. So you decide you're going to put up a 100-foot long sign that says, what, vote for Trump?
Yeah. Beautiful sign, right?
Yeah. And all of us, and you're going to have a rally the night you light it. So then what happens?
Well, the whole thing, I moved very quickly. So the whole thing came together very quickly.
By the way, I hadn't noticed that, but with you and I speed talking, we're going to have to put it down. We're going to have to dial it back a notch when we play it, because you and I both talk the same. It's the Italian in us. I can't believe you're not using your hands like me, but go ahead, Anthony.
I move very quickly. So I've been using all my creative energy to try to fix this problem, anti-Trump hate. And like one way I think we can fix it is by letting people express their support for him. And showing people, like, look, I'm a Trump supporter. You don't need to fear Trump supporters. You know, unfortunately, the media has made people out to think that Trump supporters are these boogeymen or horrible people. But I'm letting people meet a Trump supporter. Many people are meeting a Trump supporter for the first time when they hear that I am one, because they're shocked, because the media has made it in the government, the corrupt government. People that have an incestuous relationship with them are, have poisoned the minds of people. But anyways, I said, what else can I do? And I said, look, what if we put a beautiful vote for Trump sign on top of the building? So our team, we have an incredible team of artists that designed the sign. We worked with local builders to handcraft the sign. We put it on top of the building. And then I started calling the media. I said, look, I'd like you guys to come talk to me about the sign. And believe it or not, nobody wanted to take my calls. And so I used my creativity. I said, you know what? I'm just going to throw a massive party and we'll see what happens, right? So I started making phone calls, saying who would want to come to the party. My friend said, you got to talk to this guy, Henry Cejudo. And I called Henry Cejudo. He's an Olympic gold medalist. I called him and I said, I'm planning a party. Would you like to come? And he said, I got something going on with my family, my wife. He goes, what are you doing? I showed him the sign. He goes, man, I really want to be there. And so he dropped everything. He brought two of his friends. And all of a sudden, out of the woodwork, everybody started saying they want to come to this party. And the mayor got word, and he got concerned about the party, concerned about people being excited about the sign. And he went to the court and he served me with a restraining order on phony pretenses, saying I put up a public safety hazard. He said it's a public safety hazard, a sign, even though there's signs, all over the country. He said, he's a sign, but like, look, people know how to drive cars. So he went to the court on phony pretenses and said it's a public safety hazard. He had the judge issue a restraining order. And, people poured into the parking lot on Monday. What was it? October 7th, Monday, October 7th. We planned on starting the event at 6 p.m. I was doing an interview with Newsmax just before the event. And they said, what are you going to do? Are you going to pay the fine? I said, it's not a fine. They're threatening to throw me in jail. And because there was a restraining order. I mean, my lawyers told me very clearly, if you violate a restraining order, even if it's a phony one, like you got a fake person says, oh, I'm so scared of this person, you need a restraining order. Once that restraining order is in place, your lawyers need to go fight it and say, no, that person is just making up nonsense. So the mayor made up a fake restraining order, said he was so scared of my sign that a restraining order needed to be in place. And I was on the phone saying I didn't know what was going to happen. And then really 5 minutes before the event, my lawyer called me and he said, I got great news for you. The judge lifted the restraining order, but we had 3,000 plus people gathered to come see the sign get lit. And I told Newsmax, I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. They thought it was about a fine. I said, no, it's not about a fine. It's about me possibly serving time in prison for putting a sign up and trying to do a fun event for the community. And then it was even worse than that. I had to send out, there's worse things than that involved in the situation.
So
But
tell me this.
I got seat to government corruption a few days ago. So
Did they make you go to the ask for a zoning waiver or something, or did that not happen? Because I heard that and I didn't know if it was true.
I like doing fun, exciting things, and I leave all the legalities to my legal team. But my legal team told me this sign's a great sign. It's a beautiful sign, and you can put it up and you can display it. So I went forward on the advice of my legal counsel that I was within my rights to display it, and that's what we did. I think the sign's a great thing for the community. Everyone that came loved it. I talked to a local journalist, and he said to me, Anthony, I've never seen a situation like this, but he goes, you got like everybody unified behind you, Democrat, Republican, Independent, everybody's on your side. And he goes, it never goes that way. So I think the sign's good for the community, whether you like Trump or you don't. It's a beautiful sign. People like beautiful signs. It's bringing much needed attention. Believe it or not, we got a thank you from the former president of the United States, Donald Trump himself, on True Social. That's making waves. Everyone's talking about that. And so we put Amsterdam on the map in a big way, and people came here from all over the country. And now everyone's going to know the name Amsterdam, New York. Yeah.
It was an organic crowd. I mean, people started hearing about it. They started coming. They saw it on Facebook, and they headed your way. And what's interesting is one of the arguments was, oh, it's so close to the thruway. People on the thruway are going to see the big sign and cause accidents. And, people are going to stop and take photographs. And like you said, it's a safety hazard. So your attorney, Sal Ferlazzo, before I was a sheriff, I was a judge. And Sal Ferlazzo and his firm all tried cases in front of me. And I know his partner well. And Sal tried a major case in front of me that had been pending for 12 years. I rendered a ruling. It went up to the appellate court, and it was upheld. And so I know Sal well. And I know the story that people don't know is so within half an hour of you lighting, Sal gives you the go. Sal went back to court, and the judge said, well, I might have jumped the gun. It's a First Amendment issue. So it went from a violation of the codes to wait a second. It's a First Amendment issue. And if you could put what are one of the rules in the city where that if you could put the name of the business, then that's okay. But you can't advertise other things on the business. So that shows the hypocrisy of it, because if you could put the name of the business on a big sign and people aren't crashing left and right on the thruway, which is more than 600 feet from your business.
The GE sign, all the other iconic signs in the country that don't cause accidents. There's a Hollywood sign, Las Vegas sign, Times Square. What are they going to do? Shut down all of Las Vegas because it might cause an accident? People know how to drive in the streets, even though Las Vegas has signs all over the place. So that's a really disrespectful comment to the community to say people are going to cause accidents. What's he saying? People don't know how to drive cars. But I want to point out one other thing to your listeners about the whole situation, because I was upset that I saw an interview on, I think it was News 10 the other day, where the mayor said, I had no intention of arresting Anthony Constantino. I thought that was a ridiculous statement because, first of all, mayors don't get to arrest people. Mayors do not get to put handcuffs on you. Law enforcement gets to do that. But by issuing the restraining order against me, requesting the restraining order against me, he put me in a situation where I was going to be obligated, or law enforcement was going to be obligated to arrest me for violating a restraining order. So for him to say that he didn't want to arrest, he said I wasn't going to arrest him. First of all, I hope he's listening. Mayor Cinquani, you're not allowed to arrest me. That's not within your rights. And secondly, you're like a fake, whiny, fake person that goes around saying, I'm so scared of somebody. You were saying you were scared of the sign, and you put me in great legal jeopardy, great personal jeopardy, when I've done tremendous things for the community. I don't like the guy one bit for what he did. And then he's telling people he's in trouble for what he did. I've had to endure thousands of people telling me to kill myself, hundreds of death threats and other stuff. And he's saying, I'm dealing with all this stuff. Well, maybe you shouldn't have threatened to arrest the CEO of the largest employer in the city.
So I want to read you.
Have trampled on the First Amendment of all Americans, and maybe he shouldn't be spewing and spreading anti-Trump hate that's been hurting so many people.
Yeah, because the question is, what if it was a Harris Waltz? Probably would have never heard another word. So I got to read you one email somebody sent them. They sent it to me. They said, I haven't heard from the mayor yet. I want to read you that. But I also want to tell you, I live in Mayfield. I grew up in Fulton County. We got a lot of abandoned buildings. If you want to bring your business here, please have at it. We're very business friendly and we're very Republican. And we don't have the thruway close enough to us to make an issue that you're going to cause a big traffic jam and accidents.
Yeah.
But I got to read you this one message that it's an email that somebody sent me. They said, we sent it to the mayor. I never heard from him. Mayor Cinquanti, admittedly, I have not done much research on the subject, but I have to ask, are you really filing suit against Mr. Constantino on the grounds that an illuminated sign poses a traffic distraction? ? If it was an illuminated sticker mule sign, would you be filing suit? What about the illuminated General Electric sign, like you mentioned, and countless other signs and billboards across your jurisdiction, the state of New York and the rest of the nation? Doesn't the mayor swear to uphold the Constitution? I wonder if their legal team would present a countersuit. You should have left your political bias at home on this one, Mr. Mayor. And I saw him tonight. He goes, I still haven't heard from the mayor. But it became a First Amendment issue. And I believe that it brought you a lot more people who support the concept of the First Amendment, whether they agree with you or Trump or they support Harris. But also it brought out people are afraid to speak up. And you speaking up for Trump gives other people the nerve to say, well, you know what? I'm sick of being quiet. I'm sick of being shunned. Too many of us, like I have to do my job because I'm an elected sheriff. I don't ask people, what's your party when we send a police car or you call for an emergency? But a lot of people complain. They say, oh, you're too political. But I care about this country like you do. And I see things going on that bother me. And I can take the personalities of Kamala Harris out of it, Joe Biden, and I can take out Donald Trump and look at what they're going to do and what they've done. I want to really thank you for coming on. I want, is there any, Sticker Mules online on Facebook? Where do they, if they want to order stuff? And it's not only,
I'm not doing this to try to sell stuff. I want to say like one or two last things. I think the sign's a beautiful sign. It's a landmark sign. Everyone likes it. It was going to be a temporary sign. Maybe we're going to make it permanent now, but just so everyone understands, if the city of Amsterdam wanted to put a statue to Obama in the city that was going to draw attention to the city, I'd be all for it. Why would we want to disrespect anyone who's made history in the United States of America, whether it's Donald Trump or President Obama or President Clinton or whoever the case may be, even though I said some things about them earlier, but these are historic figures in American history. And why should we have an issue with paying tribute to them? And the sign pays tribute to Donald Trump. It pays tribute to American manufacturing. And now it really pays tribute to the, what I'm calling the global fight for free speech, because I never thought for a million years I'd be on the phone calling friends and family, asking if I should risk spending time in jail, spending time in county jail because I wanted to light a sign. So,
and I know, Anthony, I know it's not about sales, but it's important that if they go to your Sticker Mule pack, they can get stickers in favor of Trump. Positive, upbeat stickers.
Everybody should go there, stickerpac.com. That's the best thing you do. Go to stickerpac.com and get your fun, happy, uplifting Trump stickers. That's the best thing. And then when the election's over, we can talk about buying stickers and becoming customers and stuff like that. But right now, I want to fix this situation and make America happy again. Kennedy's healthy, Trump's great, and I want it to be happy again.
I agree with you 100%. And I thank you for taking the time. And I thank you for what you're doing. This has been Rich Giardino with Anthony Constantino, the CEO and president of Sticker Mule in Amsterdam, New York. And Anthony has an impact not only on Amsterdam, not only on Montgomery County, but across the country and across the world with his business. And he stood up for the First Amendment. He stood up for a principle, and he wasn't afraid to speak up when others stood down. So I hope you enjoyed our show. Please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube, X, Spotify, Facebook. And also, if you see a police officer, EMS, fire, parole, probation, prison guard, thank them for their service. They're out there protecting you every day and risking their lives. Thanks a lot, Anthony. Thanks a lot for being with us. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Rich. Had a great time.
Like and subscribe to The Rich Giardino Show, part of the Elite Influencer Network, wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time on The Rich Giardino Show, where the Constitution, crime, and politics meet.